Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Elsie Coe, CEO and founder of Lead Physician, here today with our weekly interviews with physician leaders. I'm so happy and grateful to have Dr. Scott Berger with us today. Hi, Scott.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm not able to get Scott today on camera. He's having some issues where he is in his not beach home, his, what would you call that? Your home away from home.
Our river house.
Your river house, awesome. So Scott, so let me just introduce you, Scott, if you and please correct me if I'm wrong. He's the co-founder and COO, CMO, Chief Medical Officer of ChoiceOne Urgent Care Centers. He also was the CMO and Chief Operating Officer of the Medspring Urgent Care Center, and he co-founded Doctors Express, which became the largest franchise urgent care centers in the United States. And this takes us back how long, Scott? We want to hear basically your story, how you started as an ER physician and had an idea because you saw a need and you took it and you ran. Can you share with us your story so we can learn from you?
Sure. So, good morning, everybody. So, my story goes back to being in the fast track of Beth Israel's emergency room in the summer of 1999. That was Beth Israel, Manhattan. And that was the beginning of my internship. And they put the residents for occasional shifts in the fast track to see those types of problems since they're so common in the emergency room. And it was incredible to me that I had to walk through two doors through the psych ER to go to this very small area of the ER that I had never seen before on my interviews, that was seeing huge volumes of patients coming in with sprained ankles, coughs and colds. And it was a great experience as somebody who was so green to be able to take care of some of those and start to make those decisions about their full scope of care, as opposed to the more complex cases in the ER where you needed a lot more support. But what was remarkable to me was how inefficient it was. And just by the very nature of the fact that that fast track was utilizing the same radiology department that the ER was. So it didn't matter if you were waiting for 3 hours for your ankle x-ray. If somebody came in congestive heart failure, they bumped you back in line, even if you were on the table and the x-ray tech went and took an acute chest x-ray on somebody. And if you were doing, I used to call it the unrapid rapid strep test, because we would send all of those up to central lab. And you can imagine, they're processing specimens for the whole hospital, including the ICU, all these stat specimens. So a rapid strep test was an hour and a half, 2 hours to get back. And so one of the few breaks that I had during my internship, I went back down to Baltimore and visited with one of my good friends from college who was already a successful entrepreneur. We were about 5 years out of college. And I was sleeping on his couch and he was just starting a new company. And he asked me about, residency and how it was going. And I mentioned to him about this fast track experience. And I said, boy, if we could ever take something like this and move it outside of the hospital, I think we could really do well with it. Now, this is a guy who had a major in finance and a minor in computer science, knew nothing about healthcare because he's also a 22-year-old guy. So probably the last doctor you saw was his pediatrician before going to college.
What year was that, Scott?
1999.
Okay.
So we start, he starts investigating it on his own without me even knowing about it. And he comes back to me about 6-8 months later and he says, if you ever want to do this, he's like, I'm game. So let me know. And it made perfect sense for me because there was a huge gap that I knew I would have in terms of being able to run a business, which was, I didn't know much about computers. I did not know anything about running a business or finance, but I knew the healthcare, or I knew I would learn the healthcare. So fast forward, finish my residency in 2002, start working as an ER doctor in New York City. My wife is also a physician and had some more training to do. But my friend and I started kind of formulating our plan more formally. And I started saving every penny that I could to start this business. We really bootstrapped it. And for 3 years, I worked 3 jobs in the ER, We lived like residents for the most part for those 3 years.
Wow.
And in the middle of 2005, we packed up our belongings and moved down to Maryland to start our first urgent care.
That's
And
incredible.
yeah,
How did you take that leap of faith? I mean,
I believed in myself. I believed in my partner, and
okay.
I believed in what we were doing. That there was an opportunity there for growth, and really, you had to be fully committed. I consider myself incredibly fortunate to have the spouse that I have, because she's an incredible person and she
Mhm.
was incredibly supportive, and I could not have done it without her. And she allowed me to work 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day, write checks out of our personal bank account to fund the payroll for everybody else who was working for us,
Uh-huh.
to float 4 and 5 credit cards to the max limit,
Wow.
to make this work. But that was so critical, was having a support system in place, people who believe in you, and believing in the team, and just working nonstop on it, and just being very purpose driven to get the job done.
So tell us, there's so many people with great ideas. There's so many physicians even with amazing ideas that they think, if only we had this, then we can do that. What advice would you give to physicians who have ideas? We're smart people who went to medical school already have a certain amount of smarts. What is the next step? And like, how do you get through that fear? How do you find the strength to just go to the next step?
I would say, because I talk to a lot of folks, and people do reach out about their ideas and what they're interested in doing, and what interests me and what amazes me. And it's not surprising, right? Because you referenced that, anyone who gets through medical school and residency is it's a very smart and highly motivated person.
Right.
But what they're often lacking is the business acumen and understanding about how to make that business, see if it really works on paper,
Okay.
with assumptions about what the business is going to take from an expense side, to see if it makes sense and works. So what I would encourage anybody who's got a great idea is look to see within your own social network, professional network, is there somebody who really comes from that business entrepreneurial side, who can sit down with you and really give you an honest assessment and help you build out a pro forma to say, okay,
So good.
what are all these different things going to cost? And then if it looks like it works, and be very honest with yourself. Don't put pie in the sky numbers about how quickly you're going to grow, if it's volume or how much revenue you're going to get from insurance carriers or from patients. Be very honest with yourself about that. And if somebody can help you build out that pro forma, if it looks good, then go for it, but commit yourself to it. Save the money on the front side so that you're not borrowing as much money on the backside to make it work. But if you have to borrow, then you do it, and you get creative with the strategies to make that work. I think the people who are the most successful are the people who often live and breathe their work, and have really done everything within the company and bootstrapped it, and understand what it's like to kind of do all the tasks, not have a cleaning company because it costs you an extra $150 a week, and do that work yourself after hours. Do those things and commit to it, and you will be successful.
Yep, that's so good. I'm an interventional radiologist, and I've met people who've created devices and continue to do so. And exactly, yeah, great advice is to partner and find those people whatever your weakness is. Find that partner with that person who can complement your strengths. And as physicians, we really understand the intricacies of what we're doing, and we know where the needs are. We just need to be able to get some help and learn another side. But you can learn yourself. Scott, do you feel like you learned a lot about business?
I joke around that I feel like I have the MBA of hard knocks. Over all the years that I've been doing this, learning how to go through it and, investing the time to really understand a P&L and everything that goes into running a business. So absolutely. I have learned that over time and through being around a lot of smart people and always being willing to ask questions. I'm the first guy when somebody throws out a financial acronym that I have no idea what they're talking about to just raise my hand in the middle of the meeting and say, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Can you tell me what that is and explain it to me?
So good. Yeah.
And by doing that, I think it's very disarming for folks too, because, when you have titles and you're the physician, people, have certain perceptions of you, and that's great, particularly as it comes to the medical stuff, they're looking to you for your leadership in that regard. But I think that the collective organization benefits when you have the humility to just say, I don't know that. Can you teach that to me?
So good. And the other thing is, Scott, when people look at you, they see the success that you've created for yourself, your team, your family. They don't see the setbacks that you've had along the way. And a lot of times it's the first or second setback is what that causes the failure. Because, people are motivated in the beginning. They have this idea, they found the partner, and bam, they have a setback and everyone gives up. How did you get through your setbacks? And do you have a story to tell us about one of them?
Yeah, part of it was fear, Elsie. When you're personally on the hook for things and you're signing personal guarantees, you will do what it takes, and you will be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning and strategizing about what needs to happen to make that business grow again, and to do the things that are necessary. I can look back on my own career for setbacks where the urgent care companies weren't growing. The centers weren't growing in a way that we needed them to continue to grow, to keep developing the business and get larger and, keep everybody within the organization working and growing. And so it took a lot of hard reflection and saying, okay, let's look at this and say, where are we missing the boat? And I'll give the perfect example. We were missing the boat on what I call our patient engagement. And we were doing a great job taking care of patients. And we were using a surveying system for our patients who were saying, for the most part, very good things about us. But when we looked at Google, our reviews were very mixed. And that is a patient acquisition tool. And it really was not something that we were looking at. And it took us a while to figure this out, that how important that was. And so by then looking at those and reading them, and trust me, it's not fun reading reviews of your business, when you've got 50, 60 centers and people are saying how unkind somebody was or how long they waited or the misdiagnosis. That's not fun. It's nice reading the reviews where everything was great. Everybody did a great job, but we read it and we took a full, top to bottom assessment of the people who were working in our clinics and were they the right people? Were we doing the right thing to set our people up for success? And then how were we engaging with the public so that they would trust us with their care? And we've put a lot of energy and focus around it, a lot. I don't think I've ever put so much work around a single initiative. And we saw clinics that had lost 30% of their market share over the preceding couple of years, not only stop that completely, but grow 17% over 2 years.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us your story. Do you have any last words, any last tips to tell us before we close here?
No, yes, I would say that for people who are listening to this, who are entrepreneurial and feel that they have a good idea, but believe in yourself. Do put in the hard work to make it work. Do it with humility. Do it with all of your conviction and all of your efforts. And if you do that, I'm confident that you'll be successful.
Great. I have one comment I want to read from Dr. Alejandro Badia. Thank you, Dr. Badia, for doing this. I'm going to show this, see if I can show this. Here it says, Dr. Alejandro Bardia says, love what Scott is doing. If only we could get more streamlined collaboration with frontline urgent care and specialty ones, such as our Ortho Now, and I believe he's in Florida, would truly disrupt the market on how to manage the ankle fracture he mentioned still trying. Thank you, Dr. Badia. I think there's always room for improvement. We're always, the point is to continuously learn to create. What do you have to say about his comments, Scott?
I think that if you don't look for opportunities to collaborate and disrupt the market will disrupt you. So I would agree with Dr. Badia that figuring out opportunities to collaborate and partner and whatever it is with a different type of urgent care, like he's doing with the orthopedic urgent care, telemedicine, whatever the case may be, you need to be the disruptor, not be disrupted.
Yep. And as physicians, we need to come together instead of working in silos, work together for the common cause, knowing that we can all win in this instead of being suspicious and skeptical about working with one another, because we're brought up in a culture of independence, and instead it's all about collaboration today.
I couldn't agree more.
Thank you so much. Again, this is Dr. Elsie Coe. If you liked our podcast, please I would really appreciate it, so that I know that we should do more of these interviews going forward. Also, please check out the website leadphysician.org for upcoming courses on leadership to empower physicians to positions that they truly deserve. And I am going to be doing a book review from a book from one of my mentors, Bob Proctor, who wrote this book called You Are Born Rich. And it has to do with a lot of what Scott and I have been talking about. The proper mindset of successful leaders is crucial to you being the leader that you believe you are. Thank you for everybody for watching, and thank you, Scott. I will be ending this broadcast now. Take care, everybody.
Okay, take care.
Take care.